Okay, before I get started, make sure you're liking and subscribing to my channel because I will continue to do reviews of Basketball Wives. So make sure you like, comment, and share if you like. So we have this new season of Basketball Wives. This is episode 4. It's called Double Trouble. So we get into opening of Jen and Kristen having a conversation about whether Jen is going to visit the house with Evelyn and Shawnee. Excuse me, with Evelyn and Shawnee and who else is over there? And Malaysia and all of them. And Jennifer is telling Kristen, like, I don't think I'm going to go there because Shawnee does not want me over there. And at this point, Jen, I understand where she's coming from. She just don't want to deal with the drama because in the past they have always thrown Jennifer under the bus. So I can definitely understand that because she's not a newbie. Like she's been on Basketball Wives for like a very long time. So I understand what she's talking about. So then she moves on to talk about OG's situation and she asks Jen if she experienced, any colorism in the group, and Jen said no, that she didn't experience any colorism within the group, just a lot of animosity, but other than that, no. So Kristen's like, well, you know, I never experienced anything like that and blah, blah, blah. And maybe I need to try to understand her a little bit more and blah, blah, blah. Like, one thing about Kristen I do not like is that you cannot be ignorant when it comes. Yeah, you cannot tell someone how they should feel about a certain situation because it's not your story. You don't know how they did her in private and how they treated her. You don't know how it feels or anything like that. So all you can do is remain neutral. And Kristen is just being messy and just trying to have some type of storyline to get up to still be on TV. So let's move on to the next scene. The next scene we have Shaunice coming to the mansion to teach the girls yoga. So what happens in this scene is that Malaysia asks Kristen about the update, if Jennifer would come to the house or what happened when they were having a conversation. And she said that Jen called her and she talked about the whole situation. And she said that she doesn't feel any colorism in the group, but she supports OG. And then she took it back to Shawnee about why she won't come to the house. She doesn't want to come to the house because I think the last reunion, she said that she doesn't want Jen to come to any trips that they're having. So, Shawnee is letting Kristen know, like, that's false. She can come over here. No one is having beef with her. So she needs to stop. But it's like, Shawnee, but you did say that, though. I mean, you should clarify it to her and let her know, like, no, I don't have a problem. Come on over or whatever. And that's just that. It's just a miscommunication in that whole ordeal. So yeah, let's move on to the next scene. This one was just irrelevant. Like it didn't even have to happen, but that's what happened in this scene. Okay, so the next scene we have is Jackie, Jennifer, and OG. So OG is teaching them how to play football, and so they're like running the field. And then in the other house, Shaunice, Evelyn's daughter, is teaching them yoga. So it was comparing both scenes. So it was real cute. I really like this scene. So the next scene we have is OG and Jackie. So they're just recapping about what happened when Kristen came over to Jackie's house and what Kristen had to say. So OG is expressing herself like, does Kristen have an agenda, or is she really trying to understand where I'm coming from? And we all know that Kristen really doesn't care. She wants to be in the in crowd so bad that she doesn't really want to mend any fences with OG. She's just doing it for camera time. Because Kristen, that whole conversation she had with OG in the last episode showed that she didn't want to understand it, and she doesn't want anyone to understand what OG's talking about. So, because colorism is very real, let's not play like it's not, and it can be with people who are the same skin complexion as you, or it can be with, someone who's lighter than you. It does happen. So she definitely has an agenda, and that's just what it is with Kristen. She's not genuine at all. Okay, so the next scene we have is Malaysia, and she's talking to the girls about Jackie and how she really cared about Jackie, and she doesn't know why Jackie would spread those rumors about her children. So Evelyn is telling her, like, I think it can be resolved. We just need to have her over here and you guys can talk and let it be over with. So that's what this scene is about. Nothing too much. Malaysia wants to sit down with Jackie and get the whole situation resolved, which I feel like it should be resolved. It's not a big deal. During that time, the pandemic was going on, so there's bigger things happening than a misunderstanding or something going on. They can just talk it out and move on. Like I said, Malaysia doesn't have to be her best friend, but they can just be cordial, and that's it. And that's it for this scene. Okay, so the next scene is Liza, and she's talking about the Lamar situation, how she hasn't gotten a check for her kids to go to school. So that's this scene. Hopefully Liza gets the check from Lamar. I feel like she should, tell the kids anytime your daddy call you, make sure you ask about the money for school. Like, don't stress about that stuff. Those are his kids too. So I understand where she's coming from, because you guys had kids together. You have a responsibility to take care of. So go ahead and drop the check and let them kids go to school, point blank, period. So yeah, that's this scene. Okay, so we have the next scene with Jackie and Jennifer and OG. So they're making breakfast. Jackie has invited some friends to the mansion, and we're getting to know them. And we find out that Jackie's friends, their father passed away from COVID, so they're just like consoling her and, relating to her, to make her feel comfortable. So that's this scene. These are Jackie's friends. So the next scene we have is Evelyn FaceTiming Jackie and asking Jackie to come to Evelyn's house and sit down with Malaysia to get everything, settled, and so that they can reconcile. So Jackie gets really emotional about it, because she's happy that there can be a reconciliation with Malaysia. So she's happy about that, and yeah, there's a possible chance for them to be friends again. So she's happy, and I'm sure Malaysia is happy as well, which is good, because it's like, just sit down and talk, get it over with. It's not a big deal. So yeah, that's what happens in this scene. The next scene is with OG, and she's making dinner for everyone and Jackie's guests as well. So Jackie lets OG know that she's gonna go to the house and go talk to Kristen. I mean, talk to Malaysia and stuff like that. And that is this scene right here. So they all sit down and they're talking about the whole colorist situation. And OG points out to Jen, letting her know that her using the word noble for Kristen coming over to talk to OG is inaccurate, because that's what you're supposed to do. And she was telling, what's her name? Jennifer, like, stop coddling those girls, call it out for what it is. She said, because what she's going through is because of them, the whole colorist situation. And she's just letting her know, like, it is what it is. Those girls are being colorist. And so, OG gets emotional about the situation, because she had something happen to her as a kid where her teacher told her like she would never amount to nothing because she's a darker skinned girl. And I was like, oh my goodness, like everybody knows how that feels, like especially like when you were like when people were like younger, like black girls and stuff like that. Black girls weren't really embraced back then, and it was always light skin, light skin, light skin. So I understand where OG's coming from because she's passionate about that because she experienced something like that firsthand. So this is not her first time. So I definitely get what she's talking about in this scene, and those girls need to cut it out. They owe her an apology for making her feel that way because it's not a good feeling. So that's it for this one. Okay, so the next scene we have is Jackie going to meet up with Malaysia at Evelyn's house. So Jackie gets to the house, everybody's greeting everyone, making everyone feel welcomed. And then there was like this awkward tension in the room. And so Malaysia told Jackie told her like, let's go talk outside. So they ended up talking, and it seems like it ends there, and they're going to continue in episode 5. So we'll see in the next episode. But that's it for this episode, and I will be back for episode 5. Thank you for watching, and subscribe and like.